Welcome back to ICG's demo series. Today we're going to be talking about using the vendor portal to facilitate communication between vendors and buying companies, specifically around payment disputes. Dispute functionality is key for a vendor portal because it ensures transparency and trust are maintained between vendors and the buying company, while speeding up the resolution of disputed invoices. In this demo, I will act as a vendor who needs to submit a dispute for an invoice. When I, as a vendor reconciling invoices against our AR ledger, come across an item where the paid amount does not equal the invoice amount in our system, I can take that invoice number to submit a dispute. To get to the dispute functionality, click the hamburger in the corner and choose Dispute Submit. The first thing I do when I open the Dispute Submit app is select the correct vendor. If you only have access to one vendor, it will automatically populate. Then I need to fill in our dispute category and issue. This is a configuration point that is specific to each customer, industry, process, and culture. Flexible configuration is crucial here because these options drive the data and documentation requirements as well as the subsequent workflows. Once the category is chosen, the next step is selecting an issue. The categories drive the issues through background mapping. To show you what I mean, if I choose AP address change, the only available issue is trade vendor remit change. However, if I choose short payment, I have the option to choose issues like freight pricing issue, pickup allowance taken twice, and product shortage. Once I select both the category and the issue, the form expands to include the fields and information needed to submit the dispute. The mapping I mentioned above also includes the different types of information needed to research and process the dispute submission. For my short payment example, you'll see the fields needed include invoice and PO related fields, but if you are notifying your customer of an address change, the fields change accordingly. Now, fill out all of the required information for the dispute. In this example, we need to have invoice number, date, amount, PO number, market, payment reference number, and the dispute amount. The required fields may change based on your organization's needs and requirements. Then, I need to add a description of why I'm submitting the dispute. One guardrail in place is that I need to fill out a certain number of characters in the description, making it a little more difficult for this section to be skipped. There are many other opportunities for customizing guardrails based on the needs of each organization or industry. Another example is the minimum dispute amount. For example, this organization won't let you submit a dispute under $20. Another example involves dates, making it so a user can't submit a dispute against a payment that is already more than X months old. Finally, I need to upload supporting documentation for this type of dispute, such as a signed receiver for a short payment or a sample invoice for the address change. Once I complete all of this, I hit submit and the dispute is automatically entered into either a third-party or ICG dispute workflow. I get a splash screen reviewing all of the information, and I also get the dispute number. This number can be used for search purposes to check the status of the dispute or claim. You're also able to download a summary of your dispute. Another way to submit a dispute is through the Invoice Search app. Go to the hamburger in the left-hand corner and click Vendor Invoice Search. If, in doing a search for an invoice, like I'm doing here, I find one that needs to be disputed, I can click the three dots here and hit Submit Dispute. We'll be taken back to the Submit Dispute page. However, since I arrived here from an invoice search result, a lot of the information is already filled in. From here, you would take the exact same steps as we saw before. When it's time to check back in on the status of a dispute, I use the Dispute Search functionality. To search, I'll go to the Dispute Quick Search on the homepage. I have the option to search by dispute number, status, or submitted dates. If I enter the dispute number for the example we just completed, we can see that it populates here. Adding dispute functionality to your organization's vendor portal is one of the best ways to make your dispute resolution process seamless. Clients receive fewer emails and spend less time entering dispute or claim information into a workflow system by having this functionality. Thanks for joining us in this demo, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.